Alright, so the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 gave us the best villain in the MCU after Thanos. That's right, in my opinion, the High Evolutionary is already a better villain than Kang the Conqueror. And in this video, I'm gonna give you 5 detailed points explaining why High Evolutionary is a better villain than Kang. The idea is not only to convince you, my audience, but to reach out to the Marvel executives who could learn a lot from Guardians 3. James Gunn has really shown his incredible writing skills by turning this lesser-known comic book villain into one of the most terrifying characters in the MCU. But before I continue the video, please spare me just 75 seconds to thank today's sponsor, Marvel Strike Force. Ever dreamt of teaming up your favorite Marvel superheroes and supervillains to save Earth? Well, today's the day. Introducing Marvel Strike Force, a thrilling RPG that lets you do just that. In Marvel Strike Force, an assault on Earth has begun, and it's up to you to lead the charge by assembling your ultimate squad of Marvel characters. I'm talking about Deadpool, Venom, Spider-Man, Captain America, Iron Man, and so many more. Here are some of the incredible features I love. First up, the Amazon App Store. Not only is it super easy to make a purchase via the Amazon App Store, but you'll also enjoy the benefits of 20% off on in-app purchases in Marvel Strike Force and Amazon Coins. Trust me, the more you buy, the more value you get for purchases in this game. Next, I'm hooked on assembling various hero and villain combos. Mixing and matching icons to create a powerful 5-person team is insanely fun. Add the 5v5 battles with in-fight tactics, and you've got a strategic marvel, pun intended, that'll keep you glued for hours. And who's my favorite character? Of course, Spider-Man. His awesome powers, agility, iconic suit, and witty humor are unbeatable. New players, don't miss out. Unlock Nebula, Miss Marvel, and America Chavez for free just by logging in. So ready to dive in? Click the link in the description to download Marvel Strike Force now. Don't have Amazon App Store? Grab it first, and save money on amazing games like this. What are you waiting for? Join the fight in Marvel Strike Force now. Together, let's save the world. Now let's get on with the video. Number 1. The show and don't tell approach. The reason the High Evolutionary comes off as a menacing villain is because all the dirty things that he did happened on screen. The way he performed ruthless experiments on Rocket, or the way he's obsessed with changing things the way they are, it's all shown on screen. Almost none of the bad things that he did was left to us, the audience, to imagine. It was all shown. Whereas in the case of Kang the Conqueror, the first time we ever saw him in the MCU was in Loki Season 1 Episode 6 in the form of He Who Remains. Now, He Who Remains warned us that if he gets killed, it will unleash havoc upon the multiverse.
I keep you safe. And if you think I'm evil, well, just wait till you meet my variants.
This specific line was meant to foreshadow the level of devastation his evil variants could bring. The entire point of Loki Season 1 was to establish just how dangerous Kang the Conqueror is. But when he did appear in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, it was all talk and nothing shown. Kang's biggest acts of destruction all happen off-screen. In fact, during Janet's flashback, we briefly see how Kang destroyed planets, realities, and even entire timelines. But we still never get to see an actual scene where he does that. On the other hand, we literally see the High Evolutionary nuke an entire planet with civilization still living on it, a planet that he himself created, by the way. And no, we don't just see how he destroyed the planet he created. We first get to see how a hybrid civilization is living on this planet, we establish a connection with these characters, and then they're killed. This show more and say less approach makes High Evolutionary a better villain than Kang, who got an entire show with 6 episodes building him up, because all those build-ups led to nothing. Whereas the High Evolutionary, who we've only seen in this movie, has a better character arc. Number 2. Personal stakes as opposed to higher stakes. High Evolutionary in Guardians 3 poses a direct threat to Rocket's life, a Guardian who we've been seeing for the past 10 years, as opposed to Kang the Conqueror, who just wants to conquer the multiverse. I understand that's what Kang is in the comics, but we have to make him much more interesting if we want to sell him on the big screen. It's okay to deviate from the comics sometimes, as long as you're staying true to the character and doing it for the sake of character development. Let's take this scene for an example. Here we see Peter Quill screaming in agony just by the thought of losing his dearest friend, Rocket. He was ready to do whatever it takes to save the life of his friend, and yet when Rocket was dying and nothing was working, that's when Peter started to feel the possibility of losing Rocket, and so did the audience. I've seen the film twice on the opening day, and believe me, I've seen no one looking at their phones or anything during this scene. It was that intense, and sadly there were no intense scenes like this with Kang's victory. victims. Now you may say, but Thanos posed a threat to the universe and it was still intense. Well, that's true, but let me ask you a question. In Infinity War, which scene do you think drew the biggest gasp from the audience? It's when Thanos stabbed Tony Stark right in his abdomen. And why do you think that is? It's because at that moment, Thanos was threatening to take the life of our most beloved superhero. We have a personal connection with Tony Stark, just like we do with most of the Avengers. And that's also why the audience gasped when Spider-Man got dusted, because he's probably everyone's favorite character. You see, Thanos was not only a threat to the universe, but he was a threat to our favorite superheroes and then the universe. And if I may bring this into this, Christian Bale's Batman was the most furious when Joker kidnapped Rachel out of all people. When stakes are personal, the audience just feels it better. Number 3, Irredeemable character style. Now up until phase 5, whatever big villains we got, aka Thanos, Killmonger, or He Who Remains, they all kinda got that redeemable factor in them. For example, Thanos wanted to wipe half the universe to prevent starvation and preserve resources. Killmonger believed he's righting the wrong against his people, and He Who Remains strongly told us how he helped keep the balance in the multiverse. But High Evolutionary has none of that. He's a horrible person by his own choice. He hates things the way they are and wants to genetically erase every flaw in pursuit of creating the perfect species. This is what led him to Rocket, and it's a breath of fresh air to have a villain that hasn't got that cliche redeemable factor in his character. We see him tinkering with all sorts of animals, torturing and incinerating them to complete his mission. In short, High Evolutionary is an irredeemable character, and when you have villains that are that bad in character, you just want them to lose no matter what. Number 4, Giant Ants vs Guardians. Now you know exactly what I mean by that, don't you? Kang the Conqueror was literally defeated by ants. Yes, I acknowledge they were super powerful ants, but ants nonetheless. Well, it took the combined forces of the Guardians to defeat the High Evolutionary. In Guardians 3, when Rocket was up against High Evolutionary all by himself, Rocket was losing. It's only when Groot, Peter Quill, Drax, Gamora, and Nebula join in, that's when they managed to get the better of him. And not only that, James Gunn first made sure that High Evolutionary's own army went against him. And by making his own creation go after him, that made him weak, made him alone. And even in that situation, High Evolutionary came on top by destroying his own army. That shows how ruthless he is, and that he'll do anything to achieve his target. But Kang, on the other hand, who destroyed entire timelines, couldn't even come on top against mighty ants. So are you telling me those timelines didn't have powerful ants? Or are you telling me that Kang isn't as powerful as he makes it seem? Another example could be this scene.
Let me make this easy for you.
Here we see Kang using his telekinesis powers to lift both Scott Lang and Cassie up against the wall. By using this power, Kang is able to manipulate objects or people without touching them. Now Scott was no match for Kang. Kang said it himself.
You're out of your league, Ant-Man.
So Kang was using his telekinesis powers on Scott, who isn't a threat at all. But when it comes to High Evolutionary, he uses the same powers to hold Adam freaking Warlock. This vast difference between Kang and High Evolutionary does make an impact on the viewer's mind. Kang might be more powerful, but it's High Evolutionary who fights a stronger opposition. Number 5, a brilliant villain versus a dangerous villain. After watching Guardians Volume 3, one thing that's clear to me is that the High Evolutionary is a brilliant character, as opposed to Kang, who so far has only been written as a dangerous character. Now let me explain what I mean by that. When young Rocket escapes from his cage and rescues Lila as well, High Evolutionary intervenes and says, "Yes, I imagined you would do something like this." So he anticipated that Rocket would try to escape from his cage. It didn't surprise him at all, because he understood that someone with Rocket's intelligence will surely want to get out of here. But Kang, on the other hand, couldn't even prevent Janet from reading his mind, which ultimately got himself locked inside the quantum realm indefinitely. Shouldn't someone like Kang take precautions so that someone like Janet doesn't read his mind? Why was he so careless? Is it because he didn't count on Janet as a potential enemy? And if that's the case, then he's just dangerous, not brilliant. But High Evolutionary, till the end of the movie, knew each and every single step the Guardians would take. He's not only dangerous, but intelligent as well. He prepares for the worst case scenario, whereas Kang doesn't even take a normal precaution. Now this 5 points should be enough to explain why High Evolutionary is already a better villain than Kang, who was built up through an entire series. Whether you like Guardians Volume 3 or not, but you have to agree that James Gunn turned a lesser-known comic book villain into a better villain than Kang. and it all has to do with writing. If good writing can turn a lesser-known villain into such a terrifying figure, imagine what good writing can do to a character like Kang. And that's all Marvel has to do. Hire writers who are competent and have the courage to deviate from the comics if necessary to make Kang live up to his own words. Don't hype up a character only to disappoint at the end. And please, I'm saying this for one last time, take the show more and say less approach for Kang. He has so much potential. The fact that everybody keeps saying he destroyed planets, realities, and even entire timelines, those in and of itself can be turned into a good 2-hour movie. So something that can be turned into a movie itself, don't convey those plot lines through a few lines of dialogue. My respect for James Gunn has increased immensely after watching Guardians Volume 3, and I couldn't be more excited to see what he's gonna do with Superman Legacy and Batman. Now please let me know if you agree with the points I raised, or if you want to add something to my points, please comment below. Guardians Volume 3 is what the MCU is all about. Great character development, incredible payoffs, and a magnificent villain. And that's all we expect from Marvel moving forward. Now if you like this video, then please give me a thumbs up, grab the subscribe button, and turn notifications on. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter to get updates about my videos. Till then, I'm Kevin Hart, and I'll see you lads in the next one. And lads, don't forget to download Marvel Strike Force. See you in the game.